interested in the different ways that machines or computers see the world and humans see the world. And it's that difference, that gap, that I think is really interesting and has like real potential for poetics or for new aesthetic experiences. And so for Pointcloud Garden in particular, the technology I'm looking at is 3D scanning technology. So 3D scanning technology right now underpins so much of the way machines see the world, whether it's self-driving cars, whether it's factory systems that can detect things in space. They need to 3D scan the world. And the first step in 3D scanning the world is to transform the visual field into spatial data. And that spatial data is called, by computer scientists, a point cloud. I don't think these technologies were meant to look at nature necessarily, but I love this idea of like the machine in the garden and, the kind of, poetic resonance that might have and allowing humans to kind of look through the machine's eyes in that way. So the Macao Pointcloud Garden ended up consisting of 2 gardens. The first garden, which we've called the transparent garden, really focuses on the site here. As I said, the site here is I just find it really interesting. I think it's really interesting the way they've renovated it, the way they've decided to leave things, and the integration, its place in the city. I love that we can see the casinos from here, but we have this little haven. So that garden, the transparent garden, really focuses on the former Yeklong Firecracker factory and on architecture, which has been interesting because I've been working now on the Pointcloud Garden series for 5 or 6 years, and I've never put architecture in it. It's really just been gardens. And when I came here, I realized I had to incorporate architecture somehow. So that's been really interesting. And it's called the Transparent Garden because we're putting it on a transparent screen in a courtyard where a banyan tree is growing into the architecture. And so I want the image to kind of float and also integrate into the site. So that's been the thinking with the Transparent Garden, is really about this site and how this site merges, the new, the old, the man-made, the natural. The other garden, called the Wind Garden, that's much more Macau. It was less about this site particularly and more about my exploring the whole islands. And so that one, the way I tried to do it is a journey, a kind of journey through the different gardens of Macau and a journey through different scales. And so the way I did that one is when I came in July, I visited every garden you have here in Macau, practically every green space, and I just made a lot of scans and really kind of absorbed the different styles of garden. There's something really nice here in Macau where you have these very traditional Chinese gardens, but then you also have the Portuguese garden influence and that kind of landscaping. And then the Flora Garden are here, which are much more wild. And so the Wind Garden was an attempt to combine all of those into a kind of larger, seamless garden. And so that was just, taking little bits, and it's almost like a collage. It's almost like, I was a virtual gardener and I got to take little bits from each garden and compose this larger garden. Yeah. Part of my goal with that work, and I think my goal in general is, with the Pointcloud Garden, one of the things I'm looking at is this difference between technology on the one hand, nature on the other hand, and a lot of people think they're different experiences. And I think with climate change and with all the problems that we're having currently with nature, I think if we're going to move forward, we have to stop thinking about these clear distinctions between city and nature, between culture and nature, between technology and nature. And so that's actually been really interesting. Where we are in particular, the former Yeklong Firecracker factory, I think has done a really interesting job at, sort of keeping all of the different layers of built environment, natural environment, built environment. And I think it's the entanglement between the two that's really interesting. And I think, that kind of pressure on a small island like Macau gets exaggerated, but I think it becomes an interesting testing ground for some of these ideas of nature being something over there, and how actually maybe we need to shift our perceptions and think of nature as just integrated every day. Yeah.